What's up and good evening everybody. Today I've got a different kind of video for you. Kind of, not really. We are going to switch out the substrate in the 90-gallon tank. We're going to switch from kind of the natural looking gravel that's in there to a black substrate. If any of you follow me on Instagram, Kevin's Aquariums, you'll see that I picked up 100 pounds of black diamond blasting sand. So we're going to see how that looks in here and what we got to do to make it work. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. On to the video. Alright, so I'm going to start by draining the tank, probably most of the way. I'm also going to grab my other gravel vac and probably fill up a couple of Rubbermaids to house the fish in the meantime, while I pull everything out of the tank and get all the old substrate out, all the rocks, and go from there. So I'm going to work on getting that right now, and while I've got the python hooked up and I've got the water draining, like I said, I'm also going to drain some water into the Rubbermaids. Alright, so I've got the other gravel vac running here. I'm working on filling up this Rubbermaid. I've got another one. I got another cooler here that I use for transporting fish. Got them both going. I do have to find something to put all the rocks in, which will probably be just like a styrofoam cooler or something in the meantime. But once I get it drained down enough, I'll grab the net and I'll start netting fish out and putting them in each one of these once they fill up a little bit more. And then once I get all those out, I gotta find something to put the substrate in, so I can get something to put it in to get it out of here. And then I will start working with the new substrate to get that ready to go. So as you can see at this point, I've got some of the fish caught and moved. I'm going to start pulling out rocks, which will make it a lot easier to get the fish from here. And that should be pretty much the last of the big rocks. So now I'm going to work on getting more of the fish out of there. Alright, so as you can see, I've got all of the fish out, all of the rocks are out. Working on draining the water the rest of the way down. As soon as I get the water the rest of the way down, I'll start scooping out the substrate and getting that out of there, and then we will start prepping the new substrate to go in. So that's where I'm at now. I'll give you guys another update. Well, it won't be a little bit for you guys because it'll be rolling through in clips, but it'll be a little bit for me, and then next clip you'll see me as I'm trying to get all the substrate out. Alright, so now we've got all the water drained out of the tank. I've got one styrofoam container there. I've got another one here off to the side. I'm going to start with basically just a dustpan. Got a little bit of dust on it, but we're taking all this stuff out. So I'm going to start with this, scoop as much of the substrate out as I can, and then basically I'll show you in the next clip what we're going to use to get the last of it out. Yeah, basically just take the dustpan and it sounds terrible. Just spilled it on the floor. Alright guys, so I got most of the substrate out. There's still a few little pieces in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this towel, dry up the last little bit of water that's in here. Alright, now that I got that taken care of, I'm going to run and grab my other vacuum quick and basically just use a vacuum to get the rest of the substrate out. Alright guys, so for those of you that don't have like an actual wet dry shop vac, what I got is basically a Christmas present for my mother-in-law. It's just basically a dry vacuum, 1.5 gallon, 2 horsepower. Just a little miniature one. As you can see, it's not that big, but it works great for cleaning vehicles, vacuuming old substrate out of a fish tank. That's why I used a towel to get as much of the water out as I could, was to make sure that I didn't ruin this at all. And I'll show you real quickly. Like I said, it's basically just vacuuming. So I'm just getting as much of that substrate out as you can. That way, when you're switching from a light color like this to black, it doesn't really affect, or you don't see it show up at all in the black. You just want to get as much out as you can. Alright guys, so as you can see, I've got my Black Diamond Abrasive Products blasting sand. I've got a bucket set up here in the sink. I'm basically just going to run water, fill up the bucket about halfway, run water over it to get as much of everything rinsed off as I can, and then we're gonna start loading up the 90-gallon tank with it. Alright guys, so I got my first bucket halfway filled up. I got water running over it. For this I am just using regular tap water. Just as you can kind of see all the way around here, we're starting to get, there's like an oily film on it. I want to make sure that none of that goes into the tank, so I'm going to rinse all of it off before I actually put it into the tank. Alright, so let me run my hand through it one more time. Stir up as much of it as I can. And once I've got enough water running through to where I can clearly see the sand in there, then I'm going to call this bucket good, dump it in the tank, and start filling another one. Alright guys, so I'm about halfway done rinsing off the new substrate. While I don't have the tank completely full on substrate, I am going to take this time to start positioning some of my rocks. I'll take a step back and see how I like that. I don't think I like it. I don't. It just seems to be a little too much right in this area. Like it's too tall. I like that a little bit better. I'm going to leave it that way for now. We'll see if I change it later on. On to the next clip. Alright, so we got the tank filling back up. As you can see, the substrate line is pretty high. Looks like we are going to have a big, thick substrate in this one. But I've got all the substrate rinsed. Everything's going back on, or back in. There are some of the sand particles that are floating. See if I can't get them to sink. If they don't sink, then the overflow will catch them and they'll go down into the filter and be taken out of the tank once they go through the polyfill pre-filter that I have running. Let me just grab my prime and add that while I'm thinking about it. Now, being that I did take out all of the substrate, I am going to do a double dose of prime just to make sure we're good. Normally I put in 2 capfuls, today I'm going to use 4. So I'm sitting here watching the tank refill and looking at how cloudy it is, and I don't really have another spot to put all my Africans until this tank clears up, so I'm gonna have to run it with them in it. But I really don't like how cloudy the water is, and I'm hoping that once I get all the filtration and everything running again, that it won't take long to clear out, because I don't have any. I've got dechlorinator in there, but I don't have any clarity or clarifiers or anything in it. And I don't have any here, which I probably should have bought some before I did this project. But I'll keep you guys updated on how everything turns out. Like I said, this won't be the last clip, but I don't want to bore you with sitting here watching a tank refill. Alright guys, well, got everything in, got the water filled back up, got the tank back up and running, sumps running. Fish are back in. As you can see, some of them are still pretty stressed out, so I'm going to give them some time to adapt. Tank is still really cloudy, but that should clear up over the next 24 hours. But I have to say, I do like the way that the, sorry for the micro bubbles there, but I do love the way this black sand looks in the tank. Kind of hard to see right now with how cloudy the water is and the glare of the light. But I'll give you another update video here in probably a couple weeks and show you how it looks. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Until next week, have a good day.